South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem has been in the headlines quite a bit lately as a potential running mate for presumptive Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump.
Yeah, now she's making some waves for a surprising revelation in her new book that she shot and killed her own dog, 14-month-old, for showing aggressive behavior during hunting training. The story detailed in her new book, it's called No Going Back, The Truth on What's Wrong with Politics and How We Move America Forward. And is drawing some criticism on both sides of the aisle from Republicans and also Democrats.
And joining us now to talk about that and more is Governor Kristi Noem. Good morning, Governor.
Thank you. Good morning. It's good to be with you.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Indeed. So if asked, would you serve as Donald Trump's running mate?
You know, what I've told President Trump is that he needs to pick the person that will help him win. And that'll be his decision. He'll be the one that will decide. And I'll do all that I can to be helpful. I know that it's going to be an interesting 2024, but I know that when he was in the White House as governor, I got the chance to be on offense every day to solve problems for the people of my state in South Dakota. And it's been a very different story under Joe Biden. Under Joe Biden, I feel like I'm on defense. We've got higher electricity costs, gas costs, grocery costs, more challenges from the federal government, more regulations. So I'll do anything I can to help Donald Trump win and get back into the White House so we can get back on offense and make sure that we're winning.
And with that, how do you accept the fact that he is facing a slew of criminal charges right now? He's been found guilty of defamation in the E. Jean Carroll case in which she accused him of sexual abuse. So what's your response to someone who says, why do you want to potentially be a running mate for him?
Well, I think that these are political attacks. These cases could have been brought years ago. It's clear that many of the people behind these cases have been past Obama supporters or people that have worked for him and Biden supporters and funders and donors. So, you know, he'll get through this just like he does everything else. And I think the American people are seeing it for what it is. And really, they're anxious to have someone in the White House that cares about them, the average everyday citizen who just fights to protect them and their way of life. That's one of the things I talk about in my book that's being released tomorrow. That's called No Going Back, is that Donald Trump really broke politics. When he arrived on the scene, you know, he was real and honest and genuine. He didn't try to pretend to be something that he wasn't. That was very different at the time, because most politicians pretend that they're like everybody else, and they try to pretend to be something that they're not, and an average person, and they don't tell the truth. So, you know, it's nice that Donald Trump is willing to take on this fight for America, and when he was in the White House, my state did very well. So I'm anxious for him to get back in charge and make sure that we still continue to protect America and our freedoms and liberties.
And speaking of going several years back, you put it out there in your book that some years ago you actually killed your own 14-month-old dog. How do you respond to critics who say you're no longer fit to be a VP candidate because of things like that? And also, what do you want readers to learn more about you in this book?
Well, I want readers to read this book, No Going Back, to get the truth of that story. These critics have been the same people that criticized me during COVID, when I kept my state open, when I refused to lock it down, when I didn't mandate masks and vaccines, and when I gave people the opportunity to take personal responsibility and have flexibility to make the best decisions for their families. So I'm used to being criticized, and again, they're doing it again. That doesn't change anything. What I hope people realize is that this book that I've written is a how-to guide for the average citizen of how they can get involved in government and feel like their voice is heard and that we get better policies. One of the things I talk about in the book extensively is that we live in a country that loves to be offended. They love to be offended at each other, and they start yelling, and you see these violent protests break out on campuses, and you see the border and what's happening and people not talking to each other anymore. And I just believe that we get much better policy when you have a diversity of opinions and backgrounds and experiences all sitting down at the table and having conversations. Because then we get better policies, and then we get better results for the everyday family in America. And I talk a lot in this book about spending time in grocery stores and gas stations and places where people gather and listen to them and what they're talking about, because that's really what is affecting this country, and we need to make sure we help them be more successful rather than the political consultants and the rich class of politicians. They go out there and say one thing, but then they do another.
No Going Back goes on sale tomorrow. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem, thanks so much for your time with us this morning.
Yes, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day.
You too.